Hi, Lara here from Style. I've used Style previously when I was a teacher and it was available to public schools. I thoroughly enjoyed using the platform. Since joining Style, I've noticed a number of updates. I'm going to walk you through some of those. I can't get through everything, but I will do my very best to stick to the essentials. Firstly, we're going to have a look at the teaching resources which are now available. You'll notice I'm currently in the Style library. So if I just scroll down and click on a particular unit, you'll see these teaching resources popping up on the right-hand side. So if I just click into the teaching plan and lab guide, one of our goals here at Style is to ensure you are not a teacher by day and curriculum writer by night. We've done this by creating lesson planning guides. These are amazing. Week by week, lesson by lesson, there is information you could just take and use to teach the lesson, or you might like to use it and make it your own. Moving down to the lab guide, our team has actually gone and done all of the pracs, filmed them, and made them available to you. The really nice thing about this is that if you've got a student who's absent, you can send this link to them. They can catch up in their own time, come back to class, and they're up to speed. Amongst the lab guides, there are also tips and tricks, things for you to preempt before you get into the prac, and also a set of data, your final expected outcome. We've also had a big focus on literacy, and that's how these flashcards came about. You might like to print the flashcards for students who have weaker levels of literacy to use during the class, or perhaps use as a bit of a fun summary in the lead up to a test or an assessment. A feature which was released in 2020 was the navigation bar, and it's been upgraded. So I'm going to walk you through this, and especially looking at teach mode. I've just swapped the screens over so you can now see a student screen on the right, teacher screen on the left. One of my favorite things within Teach Mode is you can teleport students to your lesson. So this saves a lot of fussing about with students trying to navigate to your lesson. Once they're in that lesson, you can pause their screens. This acts as a really nice prompt for students to have their eyes on you as the teacher. You can then go through your explicit teaching, going through the learning goals. You can navigate easily from question to question to be able to explain it to students. And once students are then working in the lesson itself and they're answering questions, you can see this progress bar. So that basically helps you to see which students haven't yet answered the question and perhaps need a little bit of assistance along the way. As mentioned before, literacy has been a big focus here at Style. So these are throughout the teaching resources, basically in those flashcards and some of the integrations within the teaching plans and the pracs. We've also got them throughout the lesson, so I'm going to show you how that's relevant to staff and to students. You may have noticed before, the word explain is highlighted blue and underlined. So this pops up as a glossary term. It gives you the definition, sometimes a nice pretty picture to go with it if it's a scientific term. This helps students to have a little bit more of an understanding of the question. Here, it'll help them understand a bit more about what the question's asking of them. Sometimes it might be a science term that students forget and commonly struggle with. Then it still helps them provide a much stronger answer due to an enhanced understanding of the question. Last but not least, we've got frequent check-ins, which helps you to collect data and for both yourself and students to get regular feedback. The check-ins can be found if you go up to this drop-down, and you'll see them spaced very regularly throughout the whole unit. The reason behind this is that students will learn certain learning goals throughout a variety of lessons. They'll then have a check-in that will relate specifically to those learning goals. You can see here there are multiple choice questions relating to each of those learning goals. The nice thing about them being multiple choice is that students get instant feedback. Basically, they auto mark, and also you as a teacher get instant feedback. So this can be used perhaps at the start of the lesson, and that will really guide where you go throughout the lesson, or perhaps at the end of a lesson, then you can have a quick look before you do the next lesson. Hopefully you've enjoyed seeing all these wonderful updates. We're really excited to have you join the Style community in 2024.